Hello everyone, in our last class we had completed the topics regarding what is the functional structure, what is the divisional structure, what are their advantages, what are their disadvantages. We already completed about what are the differences between functional structure and divisional structure. In today's class we will discuss about formal organization structure, or I must say the formal organization. There is an organization distributed in the two sectors, that is formal or informal. What are they, as well as what are their meaning, what are their concept, what are their differences, we will going to learn in our today's class as well as in our further classes. So let's begin with the concept of formal organization. My dear friends, formal organization generally deals with that particular structure or that particular organization where each and every duties or responsibilities should be allotted, as well as it is written in the paper to each and every employee, as in organization has written all the responsibilities of respective person, what kind of person, what kind of employee is required to do what kind of work, how much he will get the pay, how much he is going to do the job, what is the his or her target. They all things should be written in a particular format. They are following a formal organization, that each and every resources should be utilized or planned in a particular manner, as well as it is written in a particular manner. Clear? Let us understand, this structure is designed by the management to achieve organizational goals, in which the responsibilities, authority and mutual relationships among all the employees working in an enterprise are clearly defined. What are these? Responsibilities, authority and mutual relationships among all the employees. How? Responsibilities like what kind of responsibilities you are talking about? Responsibilities like what kind of work you need to do, for what you are doing, you are responsible for, what kind of department you have to deal with, or it must deal with regarding such particular job, that how and where, as well as for what particular resources he is responsible for. Okay. Next is authority. It shows the relationship between superior and subordinate, as in how much authority should be given to whom and who is responsible for particular that authority. Next is mutual relationship of all, mutual relationship deals with who is the employee, which employee is want to deal, or which employee can be communicated or directed from whom. Means it gives the superior subordinate relation, as in what kind of superior or what kind of subordinates is getting the directions from whom. As in, if in case there are multiple employees in a company and they are dealing with, for example, there are 10 employees in a company and they have to deal with in two different managers. One manager contains 6 employees and the other manager contains 4 employees. Now they should know that each employees, that is 6 employees as well as the 4 employee, known that for which manager they are doing the work, whom they are responsible for, what are their authorities, what are their responsibilities. They need to explain each and every, as well as the both manager also know about that they consist about the same level of management. They will decide the discussions on the same level of management. So it shows how the employees working in an enterprise are clearly defined. Clear? Next, it specifies clearly the boundaries of authority and responsibility, and there is a systematic coordination among the various activities to achieve organizational goals. It specifies clearly the boundaries of authority and responsibility. It creates or it sets a boundary for each and every responsibility, whatever you are going to be allotted. Let us discuss the features of formal organization. Features of formal organization. Now we are required to learn about that what kind of features as well as how we can use the formal organization, why it is necessary to form a proper formal organization in an organization. Clear? So let us discuss about the features of formal organization. First feature is it is deliberately created by the top management. Generally, formal organization is deliberately created by the top management, as in they want to decide what kind of responsibilities, what kind of authorities should be allotted to whom, to which employee, as well as what kind of resources should be utilized or what kind of resources should be given to whom. Clear? Next is it is based on rules and procedures which are in written form. These structure, this organization is based on the rules and protocols which is set by the top management. You are need to do the work as per the your formal requirement, as per the company's policies only. It places more emphasis on work to be performed than interpersonal relationships among the employees. It gives highlights to the work employees, it gives the resources as in how the work should be performed, rather how they can be interpersonally or they can interrelated with each and every employee. It shows that how the work is allotted, as in if you are in a top management, you allocated the work to job A. For example, let's take the example. Formal organization. Suppose there is a company, or I must say the MD, managing director, who is giving their roles and responsibilities to different person. He gives the duty to suppose A, B, C and D. He wants that A is required to do work regarding production and research of product. Suppose B is required to do work of dealing with the finance, which includes receipts, payments, credit facilities, or recoveries from vendors or your debtors. Suppose C deals with marketing stuff, which includes all kind of marketing like advertisement, digital marketing, sales promotion activities. These are the roles and responsibilities should be allotted to each and every employee. And D deals with suppose HR department, as in he is liable for recruitment, training of employees, give knowledge to employees, etc. So they are the responsible for their roles, their duties, whatever the given to them. Now what we require, that if MD wants, MD writes their principles that these kind of blueprints, these kind of work structure should be done by each and every employee, each and every person. Now A is responsible for all the production activities. Anything happens to any production activity, now A is liable to give their output, their answerable position. He is responsible for that only. Our point is, they won't get the time for getting interpersonal relationship. How? Why is it possible? Because whenever they are dealing with their particular department, their particular work job, they are doing the stuff, they are utilizing the resources, they don't get even the time to talk with the different person. So they will focus only on that particular production, that particular department only. They won't be able to focus, or they won't be continue with different individuals, different persons also. It gives them that they need to focus only on their work structure. Clear? It places more emphasis on work to be performed than interpersonal relationships among the employees. Next is, it clearly defines authority and responsibility of every individual, as well as it clarifies who has to report to whom. As in, it clarifies the responsibilities and authorities for every individual. Like, they are the individuals A, B, C and D, they have to report, or they need to maintain, and they need to create a responsible for that particular department only. Suppose what will happen, let's take a extended version of this example. Like, suppose A, who is dealing with the production department, he hires 2 employees named as X and Y, and he asks that X is required to do work regarding all kind of activities of production. Y is required to deal with all kind of activities which is required for research of that product, which is required to do research. So X and Y in the organization has been clearly instructed that they need to inform, or they need to direct, or they need to give their views only to the A only. They don't require that they give their outputs, they give their results to B, C or D. They are not required to give their results to B, C and D. They are required to, or they are responsible for to answer to Mr. A only. Clear? That's the point which shows that it clearly defines the authority and responsibility of every individual, as well as it clearly clarifies who has to report to whom. As in, X and Y is required to report to A only. They want to deal with or they want to get directions from A only. Clear? Next is, it is created to achieve organizational objective. Why the formal organization is adopted? It is created to achieve the organizational objective. As in, you can achieve your organizational objective on time, on an efficient and effective manner. How? Because each and every projects, each and every plans, each and every strategy, each and every responsibilities for every person is maintained in a written format. It should be managed in a written format, as in, it discussed as a blueprint that you need to do work according to the set or formulated by top management. Clear, my friends? What is the formal organization and what are its features? In our next class, we will learn about what are the advantages or disadvantages of formal organization, and the next topic is informal organization. So till then, thank you very much.